Bender, the loud, selfish, and hilarious robot who's always up for trouble. But under the metal shell, he acts like a kid who never grew up. These are Bender's most childish moments in Futurama history. First up, we have the time Bender's jealousy over a pet's birthday party spiraled into sewer-level chaos. I second that emotion. Season 2, Episode 1. This story starts at Nibbler's 5th birthday party, where Bender expects praise for baking the cake. But before he can present the cake to everyone, Nibbler swallows the entire thing in one gulp. Bender was already annoyed how everyone gave attention to Nibbler, not him. He reacted with pure jealousy. He storms off and flushes Nibbler down the toilet.
Happy birthday!
It's not clever, it's not subtle, and it's the perfect example of him acting like a sulky child who doesn't get his way. Leela is understandably devastated, and instead of being guilty, Bender was so proud of what he did.
I mean, one cantaloupe-sized bloodshot eye? You ain't winning no beauty pageants, lady.
Then the professor decides to install an empathy chip in Bender, so that he can feel exactly what Leela's feeling. This means he now shares all of her sadness, frustration, and worry. Overwhelmed, Bender tries to escape the uncomfortable emotions by flushing himself down the toilet as well. That sends him into the sewers, where Fry and Leela follow in order to rescue both him and Nibbler. In the sewers, the group encounters a society of mutants living below New York. The mutants are dealing with a dangerous creature called El Chupanibre. They decide to use Leela as bait to catch the monster. While waiting, they manage to find Nibbler, but then El Chupanibre arrives. The problem is that Bender is frozen in place because he's still feeling Leela's fear through the empathy chip. He can't help until he convinces her to stop caring so much, which instantly breaks his paralysis. Once that happens, they're able to deal with the creature by flushing it away. When they return to the surface, the professor claims the empathy chip has burned out. Then he admits that it's still running and actually working at triple capacity. Even with that, Bender says he hardly felt anything. This wraps the situation up without him showing any genuine growth or reflection on his actions. From start to finish, Bender's decisions are driven by petty jealousy and a desire to avoid responsibility. Flushing Nibbler in a fit of spite is the kind of impulsive reaction you would expect from a young child, not a thinking adult, let alone a robot capable of reason. Installing the empathy chip doesn't inspire maturity. Instead, he uses it as an excuse to avoid acting until the emotional discomfort stops. He ends the episode with no real lesson learned, still more concerned with his own comfort than anyone else's feelings. Next up is the time Bender went looking for independence and ended up proving he had the maturity of a freshman on their first day of college. Free Will Hunting, Season 7, Episode 9. Bender starts the day by slipping on glasses and pretending to be a college robot to impress a sorority girl. A move that is pure posturing with no real purpose. The tuition fee makes him panic, and when the robot mafia offers a loan at 10,000% interest, he signs instantly, like a kid grabbing candy without a thought for the consequences. His brief college life ends almost immediately. He drops out, gets a gang tattoo, and reacts to a friend's death by shoving the body under a dumpster and moving on, showing the kind of careless detachment that feels more teenage than adult. From there, he dives headfirst into more trouble, partying with Hedonism Bot, overindulging in Spark, and much more, only to be outsmarted by the kids. Another blow to his childish bravado. When he finally lands in court, his lawyer argues that robots have no free will, and he is declared innocent.
He has no free will. He cannot decide to engage in criminal behavior.
Instead of taking the win and reflecting, he sulks, upset that the verdict means he has no personal control over his actions.
What's the point of living if I don't have free will? From now on, no matter what cool crimes I commit, people will say, Bender didn't do that. It was just Bender's programming.
A frustration that mirrors a child being told their choices don't matter. Joining Fry and Leela on a delivery to Chapek 9, he stays behind in his funk and wanders into a monastery run by the Order of the Binary Singularity. The head monk, Abbot, reveals that every MomCorp robot has a slot for a free will unit, a device that could grant true autonomy if it were ever installed. Bender's excitement is instant.
How does a robot join this monk outfit?
Just put on this monk outfit.
Lighting up like a kid who believes they've just been handed a magic solution to all their problems, without asking if it's even real. Fueled by the idea, he storms into MomCorp with Fry and Leela, demanding answers. Mom and the professor confirm the unit exists, but admit they kept it from him. Instead of processing this, Bender throws a tantrum and tries to grab it, only to be stopped by failsafe coding. When it is finally installed, his first act is to pull a gun, leave the safety on, and fire wildly just to prove he can.
I guess you really don't want to shoot me after all.
Oop, the safety was on.
An act as pointlessly rebellious as a teenager skipping class to make a statement. Another standout moment is when Bender's idea of parenting looked more like a playground rivalry than actual responsibility. The Bots and the Bees, Season 7, Episode 1. You wouldn't guess from the title, but this episode starts with the professor introducing a new Planet Express machine, Bev, a soda vending robot who dispenses an exclusive Slurm Loco that Fry immediately guzzles until he literally glows. Bender reacts with instant jealousy because she does not stock alcohol. Instead of acting civilly, he and Bev start fighting like playground rivals. Moments later, in the most immature whiplash possible, they start making out. And the next morning, Bev gives birth to a baby robot. Later, it's revealed that Bender is the father. Bender's stunned face says it all. He's never even considered that robots could reproduce, which is about as naive as a teenager thinking actions have no consequences. True to form, Bender's first instinct is to run. He even signs a formal abandonment certificate offering Bev full custody, just to dodge any responsibility. She refuses and instead leaves their son, Ben, in his care. Ben's very first words, "Wipe my tiny metal ass," perfectly mirrors Bender's own attitude. With no way out, Bender is forced to take custody despite having absolutely no idea how to raise a child. Frustrated, he bends a steel clothes hanger in his hands, only to notice the baby stops crying. The moment he realizes his child loves bending metal, his mood flips instantly. Beaming, he hugs the little robot and names him Ben after himself. From that point on, Bender leaps straight from total denial to full-blown doting parent, teaching Ben how to bend and causing mischief together. It is a childish leap from "I want nothing to do with this" to "he's my perfect mini-me" with no thought in between. When the professor explains that Ben can never bend because his bending chip slot is already filled by his memory card, Bender refuses to accept it and shouts at the professor. That stubborn hope feels like a kid covering their ears when being told their toy is broken. During Ben's coming-of-age ceremony, Bev reappears to claim him. Instead of calmly discussing custody, Bender does something highly insane. He grabs Ben and flees. He even tries to bend the helicopter who came to chase them, mangling his own arms in the process. Tantrum energy at its peak. They're caught when Ben can't bend a grate at a dam. Bev then reveals she only returned because she has another baby, dumping Ben back with Bender. Rather than face the truth that Ben will never bend while keeping his memories, Bender makes an emotional, impulsive decision. He removes Ben's memory card to install a bending card. The scene plays like a bittersweet sacrifice, yet it's still childlike. He trades their relationship for the satisfaction of fixing problems his way. From start to finish, Bender swings between jealousy, denial, over-attachment, and impulsive fixes. Each reaction mirroring the way a child handles responsibility, running from it, clinging to it, and finally making a dramatic gesture to feel in control. It's a perfect example of how his immaturity drives the whole episode. Then there's the episode where Bender turned one lazy shortcut into a full-blown planetary crisis. Benderama, Season 6, Episode 17. The professor invents a machine that can scan an object and make two smaller copies of it, using whatever matter is around. He needs it to shrink clothes so that he can stay warm as he ages, but he wants Bender to fold the sweaters himself. Instead of doing the job, Bender stashes the machine inside his chest and makes two copies of himself to fold the sweaters for him. Classic lazy trick, like a child assigning chores to their younger sibling. It doesn't stop there. Those Benders are just as lazy, so they use the machine too. Soon there are dozens, then hundreds, until there are so many miniature Benders they start copying themselves uncontrollably. They're all the same as Bender, careless, immature, and sometimes mannerless. The room gets filled with tiny Benders, all avoiding work, and it feels like watching a toddler who keeps inviting more friends into the mess. The duplicates become a swarm that begins eating everything, including Bender's couch and beers.
What's with the gray goo? Bite my tiny metal ass!
The professor warns they may soon consume all matter on Earth. It's a child's dream gone wrong. more toys made for fun until your whole room disappears. In a strange twist, the crew notices that since benders run on alcohol, the tiny ones will stop when the booze runs out. That thought triggers a plan. The duplicates begin drinking water and beer, turning water into booze at molecular level. Soon, the whole planet is drunk. That is childish chaos turned global. Then a giant alien shows up to make peace, but the drunken humans keep hurling insults until he storms off to smash the city. Bender, still the only sober one, stays cool and acts like none of this is his created problem. Fry pleads with him to help, but Bender stays unbothered, until Fry promises to fold the sweaters for him. It's such a ridiculous reason to step in, but it works. Suddenly, Bender calls in his army of tiny duplicates, who merge into one colossal Bender to take on the alien. The entire scene feels like the most absurd clean up your mess moment possible, driven entirely by petty motivation. In the end, Earth is saved, the sweaters are folded, maybe by one mini-Bender, and the Gregory remains unchanged. Bender learned nothing but would probably do it all again. Nothing says relaxing crew trip like Bender turning a food contest into a prehistoric showdown. Bun on a Bun, Season 7, Episode 8. Professor Farnsworth proposes a crew trip to Oktoberfest so that they can relax together. Fry, expecting wild beer hall chaos, is stunned to find the festival refined, with pint-sized servings brought on silver trays and a polite, polished crowd. Unable to adjust, he gets drunk, jumps on a table, and performs the chicken dance, until Leela, embarrassed, breaks up with him. Bender, meanwhile, spots a sausage-making contest and decides he has to win. His goofy ambition escalates when he sees rivals using specially aged pork. Convinced he can beat them, he drags a miserable Fry in the Planet Express ship to the Neander Valley, convinced that 30,000-year-old mammoth meat will secure the victory. Like a brat chasing a magical shortcut, he plunges ahead without thinking. They dig up a frozen mammoth, push it into the grinder, and Fry accidentally falls in as well. Bender, oblivious and focused only on his prize, keeps grinding. The crew later samples his mammoth sausage and finds Fry's hair and clothing in it. Leela, horrified, erases all memory of Fry from her mind, a heavy consequence of Bender's selfishness. In a flashback, Fry crawls out alive and tumbles into a cavern where he meets a hidden society of Neanderthals. Mistaking him for one of their own because of his swollen brow, they make him their leader. He leads them to the surface in a prehistoric assault on Oktoberfest. As chaos breaks out, Bender seizes his moment. He secretly knocks out the judges who beat him, ensuring his sausage wins by default. Winning through sabotage rather than skill is as childish as swiping candy from a sibling. In the end, Fry and Leela, both without their memories, still feel drawn to each other and kiss, ending the battle. The festival slips back into its messy, beer-fueled roots, and Leela joins Fry in the chicken dance, letting him take the embarrassment this time. Through it all, Bender acts like a trophy-hungry toddler, jealous, oblivious, and scheming for instant gratification. At last, we reach the final entry, a story that proves Bender can turn even a diplomatic visit into an excuse for mischief. The Prisoner of Bender, Season 6, Episode 10. The story kicks off with Emperor Nikolai of Robo-Hungary visiting Planet Express. The moment Bender hears about the crown, he pushes past Leela's feelings and quips he's going to steal it. Everyone refuses, yet Bender immediately lights up at the idea, like a kid who sees a shiny prize and forgets everything else. Meanwhile, the professor and Amy test his new mind-switching machine. He wants to chase thrills in a younger body, while Amy just wants to eat again. Each gets exactly what they hope for, until they discover the machine refuses to reverse the same pairing of bodies. This sets off a chain of swaps where everyone trades minds with someone else. Bender, now in Amy's body, sails aboard the Emperor's yacht, convinced he will walk off with the crown unnoticed. He clumsily knocks out Nikolai's officer before ruining the plan by tossing his watch into a metal detector. Captured, Bender fumbles through the truth.
With all due respect, Your Majesty, I'm a robot like you. I just switched bodies with some bimbo.
But the Emperor is tired of royal life and welcomes the switch. Bender dives into a royal identity with zero subtlety. That reckless impulse and belief in instant gratification is so immature it feels like he's playing dress-up without considering the consequences. Elsewhere, Leela and Fry stumble through heartbreak, only after switching bodies, with Fry ending up in Zoidberg's and Leela in the Professor's. Their awkward date pushes them to admit feelings beyond appearances, a contrast to Bender's selfish antics. The chaos peaks at the United Nations when Bender, hunted by the Emperor's scheming fiancé and cousin, slips away through sheer dumb luck rather than skill. The Globetrotters' math finally restores everyone to their rightful bodies. Yet, even in the aftermath, Bender's eyes are locked on the real crown still inside the Emperor's body. It's the perfect capstone, a playground mentality wrapped in a royal robe, proving Bender hasn't learned a single thing. Bender doesn't just push boundaries. He ignores them entirely, usually for the pettiest reasons. These moments prove his inner child runs the whole machine. Which one is your favorite example of his robot-sized immaturity? Let us know, and make sure to like, share, and subscribe.